Hello, welcome back for another live stream. Hope y'all are stoked to explore some new music, possibly for some of you. Azathoth has heard half of these today, at least half of the bands. That's better than me. I think I've heard two, maybe. We have Primus today that I know I've heard. Fugazi, Trollfest, maybe. I think so. KMFDM, maybe. I know of them, but I think I'm more familiar with MDMFK. I don't know. I'm very confused about all that. Everything else is new for me, though. So I'm pretty excited to dive into all this and see what we have in store for us. How's everyone doing today? There's a lot of chats going on. What's a wild statement? Oh, yeah, that's true. That's true. I do know Toto, but only because of Africa. Like, everyone knows Africa. Hey, Gonchar, welcome. How you doing today? Oh, then maybe I don't. Like I said, I get confused. I know what they are, but apparently maybe I have them confused. Yeah, Youth Worship Explosion knows what's going on. So we got FHI here, Azathoth, Gaku, Charm Tiger, Spiral Out, Arkonji's here. Probably a few others just chilling, chat, waiting to listen to some good music. Lol. I think I'm just going to call you LOL. I hope that's fine. Glad to have you today. Came from the Smergle reaction. Smargle. I read that completely wrong the first time. That's old, dude. I'm glad some of that older stuff's still getting hits. This Toto's a different singer than the Africa. By this time, Bobby Kimball was out. All right. So while I have heard Toto, I have not heard this version of Toto. Toto of Theseus. Oh, man. Let's get the day rolling. We got 14 tracks ahead of us today. We got a lot to cover. Got to find a better way to do this, but until then, we're just going to keep cramming more and more songs into every live stream. We're kicking it off with some Mohini Dey. Used to listen to Samael a bit, and the basis of Sylosis plays in Conjurer 2. That's a lot of band names being dropped there. Also used to stream on Twitch, and I got to know Sylosis through that. But you don't like it very much. Oh, man. Also, welcome, Skyweb. Glad to have you today. Let's see. Do we have some context for this? From Spiral Out. Title track from her new solo record released 7/20. Many consider her to be one of the world's greatest living bassists. And on this track, accompanied by virtuoso drummer Giorgio Borlai, jazz rock fusion with Indian influence. She was born in Mumbai. All right, let's dive into this. See what we have in store for us with the Dey Way. Synops, welcome. It's a long O in Sylosis. All right, thanks for the correction. Let's kick it. Oh, so we're going to start and end kind of full circle with that little connection. What's Suno? Or what is a Suno promoter? Oh, Suno AI. Well, that's a shame. Oh, the halftime. I was going to mention later that I'm not too big of a fan of the scatting that was going along with the bass. I think it was mostly the mix, but the vocal part did seem out of place in the track. Impressive nonetheless, but I think I have. Although I think it's more Indian influence in other genres of music, but yeah, vocalizing along with technical melodies. Beautiful section. All right, shake it. Oh. So bringing the intro back as a reprise. Yeah, and back with that first A section. That's an interesting way that kind of bookend this stream. The parts you like least drag the longest. That is never a good experience with music. She's in a time of look how I can play rather than hear what I have to say. I can kind of feel that. There are parts in here that I am completely taken aback, flabbergasted by the sheer display of virtuosic skill. But as a whole, does the song connect with me? And I'm not sure. I feel like it fits in a similar realm to a lot of Animals as Leaders work, where there's a lot of skill going on here, compositionally, metrically, performance-wise. It's just not emotionally engaging for me. It's more like a masterclass or an exercise than something emotionally evocative. Nothing to hook. Yeah. And so this is something that I think it almost works really well as a trailer, a promotional media to say, this is my skill set. Not only playing at this speed, not only playing with this type of technicality on the bass with all of these skills and different styles between the tapping and the slap pop and everything that goes on in that, but also singing at this speed with this precision of pitch. It is incredibly impressive. And if you ever needed to showcase your skills, to have some sort of musician's resume, this is a phenomenal video for that. It's called the Dey Way. It is more or less promotional. Yeah, and I think it works really well for that. It is incredibly impressive from start to finish. And even outside of her work, too, the drum work on this is fantastic. I love the drumming. Like, every bit of it is just very cool, technical, little melodic, but lots of cool little metric modulations throughout too. Have you been possessed by Suno? What I found less interesting were the supplementary elements. The saxophone sounded great, but didn't really add much beyond texture. How many of y'all are also musicians? Is that the issue? Simply too many note hooks? Just cut a few and it'll be perfect? What is that a reference to? Because I don't get that. It's Amadeus. The film Amadeus. I think I saw that maybe a long time ago. Now I kind of want to see it though. I want to get the reference. Anyways, back to Mohini. This is like I said, this is still really technically impressive. I was blown away by a lot of it. But I do wish it would slow down and smell the roses. Actually, I guess it does for a little bit. In the middle of the track, we do get that really smooth halftime section. And I think that did grab me more than the more technical aspects of this. Maybe just another listen or maybe another track of hers would really sell me. She'll grow out of it, maybe. Right now, she's in her polyphia phase. We'll see where she goes from here. It is a shame, though, that she supports Suno. It blows my mind that an artist of any caliber would support AI art. And especially someone like this, who is almost a niche. There aren't too many bassists out there doing this kind of stuff, hyper technical. And she kind of has carved her own corner here, especially merging with the Indian influences too. And tomorrow there could be 500 AI artists doing the exact same thing based off of, trained off of her music. Why would you support that? I don't get it. She slams people for visiting techno shows where DJs hit one button. That's an entire can of worms I'm not going to talk about. I'm not going to open right now. We're going to move on, though. I think I've said my piece on that. Still quite enjoyable from a technical masterclass, sort of a clinical perspective. And I think that's my biggest takeaway. My DJ friends have at least 2 buttons. All right. Next up, we have, is this Polish? Let's get all this set up. And then makes a video promoting a program to press a button to create music for you. Speaking of one button. All right, this one comes at us from Synips, more Polish music. The track is Rzeka by Death Doom bands. How do we pronounce this? Domzwe with female harshes. All right. Can you send a song that you made? Absolutely, dude. Let me throw an email down here. You can shoot me the email there. We're not going to be able to play it on the stream, but if you want some feedback, I can certainly give that to you. The weird L is pronounced as a W. Yes. And I think I said right, Domzwe. I think I pronounced that correctly, or correctly-ish. As correct as I'm going to get it. All right. We got some Death Doom right here. Let's dive into it. See what's going on here. Bad House. Okay. The dual guitar work is really good. Dude, that's awesome. Sometimes I wish I could understand guitar tone a little bit better than just how it affects me, to like recognize the individual components. So that's very cool. There's a lot of implied pitch control going on that gives it a semi-melodic quality. I remember we checked out a lot of ISIS several years back, and then no one's requested them for a while. I completely forgot what their sound was. Track name is Flood. Okay. Yeah. The escalation that this guitar brings to the equation for presumably the finale here is so good. Yeah, I think that one gets pulled down. I quite enjoyed that. I wish there was some clean vocals in there somewhere. I think that's the final piece of the puzzle for me generally when it comes to blackened music is clean vocals. I do like the harshes in here though, as I was speaking about earlier, and kind of piggybacking off of Azathoth's comment. The perceived pitch in this has shifting movement. It feels melodic even though it's all harsh tones, which is just a collection of overtones. It's so many sound waves clashing against each other. Wish they had changed things up a bit. Yeah, and I think that's where clean vocals could have come in. We did have some nice intensity shifting with faster and slower sections. We had parts that felt just like heavy weights. We had parts that were more driven. We had tension rising at the end as this higher pitched guitar over here was crafting a lot of not dissonant, tensor harmonies in order to drive the momentum into the end of the track. It's it all works really well at delivering a fairly consistent but still evolving sounds, never quite feeling totally the same from start to finish. The guitar work on this is great. The drums are consistent. Not a lot in here that grabs my attention, but drum work in black metal very rarely does. And the vocals, they keep things interesting. They have that melodic quality. I generally enjoyed this. I think the vibe is good on this. And I may end up checking out more. Like I said, though, clean vocals would have put it over the top. That was something I noticed consistently in some of my favorite albums from last year that were more extreme metal, was having some cleans in there that contrast everything else. Even some acoustic guitar, I think, could have helped with this too. But all of that also completely deviates from artistic intention and theme. So while they would have been sonically more interesting to my ears, might not have been exactly what they were going for. Clean vocals suck. Oh man, I always feel like a bit of a weirdo here on this channel. We listen to so much harsh vocal work, and generally speaking, that's what I tend to enjoy at least. Remind me of Hamford, which does have clean vocals too. Yeah. Good way to start the day though. Crazy bass and then some heavy, moody stuff. A little bit of whiplash through that. Unless it's emo, then the vocals aren't harsh anymore. I don't know what you're saying there. I mean, unless you're talking about like harsh emo harsh is not being harsh. I think it's easy to mess up clean vocals. That is 100% true. How do I want to word this? I think clean vocals require more skill than harsh, but I hope you all know that I'm not discrediting the skill and technicality of harsh vocals either. But I do find that unless you are somebody who is mixing a lot of harsh vocal techniques together, if you're just doing the monotone, this is my harsh sound and it's what I do all the time, I just find that to be less difficult, and in a sense, I suppose, less skillful than someone who is doing clean vocals well. You're talking about my perception of emo harshes. Yeah. But to be fair, too, especially in screamo, I can certainly have too much. But what's nice about emo is that generally you get a nice mix of the two. So you agree with me depending on harsh vocal style? Yeah. Metalheads prefer clean verse and harsh chorus. We do find that a lot in like alternative metal, melodic metalcore, a lot of the mainstream stuff. I do think that is, I'm certainly in the majority when we look at the more mainstream side of metal, but I feel like in the community here, I'm a bit more in the minority. Though I'd have to admit too, not everyone in the community likes harshes, so not like I'm alone here, which is nice. It's hard in heavy music to fit clean vocals well. I think we have preconceived notions about what heavy music gets paired with well. And that certainly informs what we think works well. For instance, if you took Cryptopsy and put a clean vocalist in there, how difficult would it be to make it sound like it fits, even if the singing was well done? I think a lot of that comes down to our biases. I don't think it's any more difficult than any other genre to put clean vocals in it. It might even be easier at times because a lot of the music is going to be based around dissonance already, or at least more tenser ideas. But on the flip side, a lot of heavier music also works with more stable chords because of the amplification process that would amplify even the slightest bit of tension or imbalance in your harmonic area. So it actually might be easier to do clean singing within those areas. It might not sound stylistically well, but harmonically it would fit easily. So I'm kind of curious where you kind of sit on that idea of if it's a sonic idea where you find the clash or a harmonic idea. This is one of the few gothic metal albums that holds up really well for you. So we're going to get into some gothic metal here. It's like guitar, it took many years for it to be distorted and now it's everywhere. Yeah. It was something that felt a little off and strange at the time and probably had naysayers about it to begin with. But after time, we found a way to kind of train our ears to better accept it, better understand it. All right. One of the first space-themed black metal bands. They started as a traditional black metal band and then became more industrial. This one comes from Emperor Samael 666. Is the artist where you got your name from? Let's dive into this. The ones who came before. See what's going on here. It is. Okay, cool. Yeah, it's just going to be the ones that are on the list. We do have a monthly list, and we get through about 13 to 14 of them every Sunday. If you'd like to join the Patreon, there's links below, and then you can send your request in, and we will get all the remaining August requests done next week. I'm not sure how long this high-pitched single-tone guitar riff is going to work for me, but it kind of works. Dracula movie from the 90s. Oh, it is a harmonic. Oh, I guess that makes sense too, with the roundness of the tone. No, now that you mention it, I hear that too. I don't know if it's two notes that I'm hearing, but it's certainly a harmonic. Maybe it's not. If it's not, it's highly modulated. It doesn't sound like metal as much like rubber or plastic. Very interesting description. Oh, oh, that's it. I don't think I necessarily wanted more. Like, I'm fine with it being 4 minutes or so. It was very, well, it's like a good club track where it's fairly consistent in atmosphere, a little bit of change from here and there, but overall just lays that beat down, has a cool groove, has a cool atmosphere, and you just dance to it. But at the same time, that just seemed like a very abrupt way to wrap that up. I was not expecting the ending to be there specifically. Everybody shut up, the song's over. And I think that's kind of my take on it too. It's a good club track. And I've mentioned this before. I used to frequent goth clubs. There's actually a chance I've heard this before, maybe. You don't really pay too much attention to the specific songs themselves, just listening for the beat and you just groove into it. And this, if I hadn't heard this before, it would fit in perfectly in the club, 100%. But beyond that, is there anything that I'm really finding interesting? And I don't know. The harsh vocals work. That high-pitched sound over here is fine. It actually didn't grate on me as much as I thought it was going to. It's got a good beat to it. The vocals almost get out of the way of the song, which is interesting. They're not stuffed into the mix, but they don't dominate in the EQ either. They're just sort of there. And there is a clarity to them. You can hear some words, but it also just has this sort of consistent rasp to it that just gives the song a little bit of extra texture. Goth club with a bottle full of kombucha. Never in my existence has that statement been correct. Half of it, sure. I do feel, though, the goth vibes in this, the industrial vibes, and I do think it works fairly well as both like an electronic song and a metal track. I don't think I could clearly fit it into either camp, but it fits in both. I mean, it's one of those things where if I'd say it was like electronic metal, this is the perfect description for it, because it's not metal music with electronic sounds. It's not electronic music that's gritty. I mean, it's right there in the middle. You really need both words to describe it. But it is what it does, and it does that one thing, and that's about it. You just got to like it for what it is. Vampire parody of Into Club would go hard. Well, now we need it. And the music video has to be a recreation of the Blade 2 opening scene, minus the fighting and all that, but just like that club vibe right there. Very yeah, okay. Incorporate the beat from, okay, so we're all on the same page here. We all know what we want out of this. Oh man, that's good. Next up, we got some Toto. We get to, I get to, anyways, experience a different side of them, a different vocalist, and something that's not Africa. AI can make that happen. Oh man. Oh, Synapse was on it too. Y'all got them AI jokes. Guy in the thumbnail is Joseph Williams, son of John Williams. Wow. Amazing hair. Dude, hair was so big back then. I don't dream of hair that big, but I do wish my hair was a little bigger. Thinned out over the years. I used to have real, I mean, you guys have seen, like, when I put my hair down, it's pretty thick, but it's not thick on top anymore. It used to be. All right, let's dive into this before I reminisce too hard about when I was younger. We got some context on this from Ramono, often called Music for Musicians, one of their lesser known hits. This band is composed of highly regarded session musicians, including drummer Jeff Porcaro, who played Beat It and Thriller, and Steve Lukather. All right, let's dive into this. See what's going on with the track Pamela. All right, 2 back-to-back songs with great groove. Oh! Ah, dude, that bass lick. The haircuts are hilarious. You know, they're not too different than the mullet, which is coming back in style. Yeah, dude. The mullet is back in style with Gen Z. I live in... That might be one of the best comebacks I've ever heard. Florida music, man. Dude, they have such phenomenal, like, intuition for transitions. And even just, like, it's everything, dude. The guitar tone, the vocal style. Those were the days. It's just so infectious, man. Yeah. It's that little syncopation at the end of the phrase that gets me, dude. It's so good. It's just a guarantee. Y'all want me to enjoy a song? Funky syncopation. That's really all I need. Konami orchestral hits. Oh, dude. Okay, that was good. That was a little burst of energy there. So we had some industrial dance, and now we got some jazz fusion 80s pop dance here. Master musicians at their best. Absolutely, dude. And you know, we were talking earlier about preconceived notions, the way that a sound is supposed to be, about how clean vocals can kind of sound out of place with heavy guitar work. I was thinking about what Youth Worship Explosion was talking about with them not enjoying the production here. What if this was remade with a 2020s pop aesthetic? Don't touch the composition at all. Would it still sound right? Correct? My gut says no. If it was made with the 2020s pop aesthetic, you'd probably like it. My gut says I probably wouldn't like it, though. And I think this is one of those situations, I've talked about this in the past, where, you know, I would say, this sounds really good, but I wish it did this differently, you know? And it completely changes the original intention of the song, but it would make it more palatable to my ears. And I'm sure fans of that song originally would be like, no, dude, that's wrong. This song doesn't need clean vocals. This song doesn't need more bass work. You know, this song doesn't need production that sounds like it actually had work put into it. It wouldn't sound right. And that's kind of how I feel about this. If this sound is so particular to its era, but also to the vibe, while we still have jazzy-esque, syncopated, funky ideas in modern pop music, it's usually pop music. We don't hear it too much in pop rock. We don't hear it too much in rock at all. And this electric guitar tone, I think, is so heavily intertwined with this style of music that I don't think I would want to hear a track with a different guitar tone. Well, I would like a little bit of bass boost on here. I don't remember who mentioned that. I would love to hear more of the bass. I feel like it's a little quiet, but I don't think I would want a beefier tone. I don't think I would want a low-end heavy production on this either. The 80s sound and style is so inherently fused with cocaine. The vocal writing, singing style of the 80s in general is lacking. Dang, oh, jeez. I had the start of an idea there, but I walked it back real fast. I think I find lyrics of the 80s to not be as strong as what I would prefer them to be. But as far as vocal melody hooks and vocal delivery, stuff like this is just phenomenally catchy. It's hooky, it's energetic. I love everything about it. No orchestral hits. We need the orchestral hits. Super bright production makes the vibe. Yeah. Yeah. And kind of toning that down, bringing out a lower end vibe to it. I don't think it would work as well, even though it would still be the same song compositionally. Oh, the brother, the drummer, was on the bass. Dude, that's crazy. Super talented family right there. Because the bass, man, that sells this to me. It really does. The bass and the piano are the heart of this track. And then the guitars and the vocals lead it. Like they're the legs. They're the legs, and the bass is the heart. That's it right there. But I think you could tell just from me jamming to this, I love it. It is super catchy, super danceable, super funky, dude. You give me some syncopation and an energetic vocalist, and I'm sold. I don't care what the genre is. You give me some black metal with crazy, funky syncopation and a vocalist who just oozes energy, just demands attention, who dominates the stage. I'll be there. I will listen to that black metal every day. I guarantee it. In this band, it's all of that all the time, up to 100% consistently. Every bit of this, the solos, the melodies, the rhythm section, everything's just on point here. This was a good find. I might have to dive more into them. I've only ever known Toto for Africa, and that's a solid track. It's got a good hook to it, the catchy song. But this was phenomenal. Now, I don't know what we are in store for here. Nicolas Jaar, with 2 A's, is our artist. Toto has a lot of music, many songs with women's name. The music video was certainly dated. The hair aside, there was no story here. There was the band and then the camera gazing at a woman in poses. That is such an 80s music video. Not to say we don't still do that today. There's lots of metal is just some guys in a studio jamming and then some cuts over to some women doing other things. But to me, it's such an 80s thing. Gotta get more into yacht rock. If it's like what we listen to, yeah, 100%. Space is only noise if you can see. That doesn't make any sense to me. I don't know if I want it to make sense to me. We're going to find out what's going on here, though. Regardless, from John, early work of one of this generation's most brilliant electronic music artists, Jaar's earlier work is also the most approachable since he got his start in dance music but quickly found a different trajectory into experimental and avant-garde electronic. Some of his later work is absolutely exceptional. Some of those artists went on to have solo careers and did nothing. They didn't have a lot to say. They just knew how to play top level and compose parts, but their solo music is so lacking, it's almost embarrassing. And sometimes, that's what people are. I think there's a reason that for every artist who breaks into the industry, who writes their own music, who plays their own parts, who has that stage presence and commands audiences, it's a trifecta right there. Some people even produce their music, right? That's 4 distinct skill sets right there. Performance, musical skill, composition, and then engineering. Most people aren't going to have all of them. So it makes more sense to find what you're good at and find ways to explore that. Yeah. Self-expression and creativity is what matters. And if you're just, I mean, look at orchestras, right? How many people perform in orchestras? Even some of the top orchestras, how many of them have solo careers? How many go on to write their own music? Some people are just exceptional musicians. I don't think people should look down on that. And I'm not saying you do. I'm not trying to put words into your mouth, Ramono, but I think if you're great at an instrument and you can find a band, or you can be a session musician and you can just play what other people tell you to, that's a solid career right there. As long as the amount of notes is accepted. We keep coming back to that. Brian's talking about lesser musicians. Oh, geez. All right, we're going to move on to some Nicolas Jaar. We're going to find out what space is about and how it can be noisy, but only if you can see it. It's interesting that we kind of expect Renaissance talent out of top-level musicians, but not any other field like acting or directing or writing. Yeah. There's a lot of areas where it's like, you do this one thing well, beautiful, do that thing. But then when it comes to music for a long time, particularly I think in the rock and metal field, and I think a lot of this comes down to the DIY garage band kind of ethos of building yourself out of nothing, that there's a lot of weight to put on being the everyman, the Renaissance man. Yeah, it depends a bit on music culture, because in the pop world, honestly, all you got to be able to do is dance, you know, especially nowadays. If you can't sing well, you can sing good enough. Well, autotune will correct that. We got production tricks for that. We're going to pair you with a producer. They're going to write music. You just need to bring the lyrics and some dance moves. And sometimes you don't even need the dance moves. I'm not going to throw names out there, but people have to find a balance between virtuosity and ignorance. Punk aesthetic, DIY, self-learned style. Yeah. Learn the rules and learn how to break them. Yep. That's where the self-expression comes out. All right, Nicolas Jaar. For the third time, let's see what's going on here. Space is only noise if you can see. Oh, like outer space. I was just thinking of like the general concept of space. No, I think you're on the right track with that, though. Is an interesting use of space in this, with the reverb, with the echo. There's only a couple of instruments, but they take up a lot of space. What's Vogon? Oh, dude, it's been so long. I can't believe I missed that. Vogon with the winds.
Replace the watch the weather, baby, on TV. Space is only noise that you can see. Space is only noise that you can see. Space is only noise that you can see. Space.
All right, Ramono, have a good rest of your day.
Space is only noise that you can see. Space is only noise that you can see. Space is only noise that you can see.
Solid dance beat throughout. We do have a case of a canon here, which is pretty interesting. I don't think it was a lyrical canon, but the idea of the first vocalist starting the melody, moving to the second part of the melody while an echo or a second voice, I wasn't really sure how it was created, started from the beginning again. You kind of get this overlapping of the first part and the second part. As they move into the second and third, another one comes in. We kind of have this stack of 3 distinct melodies, and they're just consistently follow each other. Textbook case of a canon there. Very cool. You don't get to hear that too often. It also makes great use of space. There's a good bit of panning throughout. There's the reverb, there's the echo. It feels like a real place we're in. And it also feels empty. Just lots of room for things to bounce around. But I do agree with Gaku and Arkonji that it fails to capture my attention past 2-3 minutes in. It very much is, well, like some of the tracks we've listened to today, locked in to a single view. There's a little bit of variation, but for the most part, the beginning of the song is very similar to the end of the song, and I found it to be a bit too minimal to grab my attention. But I do think that on the production side of things, there's some cool things going on. And I might not be able to name all of it, but there was a lot of modulation of pitch, especially I think it was about 1.5 minutes or 2 into the track. They started to do like these pitch modulations on the core bassline melody, And instead of just dun 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 or whatever it was doing, it'd be like brown 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 brown, have like all these little like roundness to it, these little pitch movements. And yeah, again, it's little things that try to change up the general feeling of the track without ever altering the composition, which dominates the way it feels. It's the atmosphere of it. Seems like a prime example of cold wave. That's the first time I've heard that. I've heard a lot of waves. I don't think I've heard the music to a lot of different waves, but I have heard y'all talking about them. But cold wave is new to me. But that kind of fits. There is a cold emptiness to this track. It is sort of static too. The vocals are delivered rather mellowy. I mean, cold is a good way to describe this. There's at least 3 cold waves. New wave, but icy and detached. Yeah, that's a really good description of this. I will say, though, that I kind of enjoyed the Space Invader style sound effects on this, if nothing else for the thematic angle of introducing the concept of space and then putting noise to it. Are these notes? Yes. Are they musical? No. They are, in a way, a noise in all of this. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I don't know what their intention was for it, but a generous read would be making noise with a, you know, very thin connection to space because of the Space Invaders video game. And there is a thread between all of this. Brian's doing that music racism again. Oh, jeez. Of all of the recurring, like, inside jokes, music racism is the most ridiculous. Oh, man. But it cracks me up every time because it's so absurd. All right, we got some KMFDM coming up next with the track Oubliette. This one comes at us from Daughter of Janus with no context. We're just going to dive straight into this then. See what's going on. I think we're going to have some more electronic music, no? This is going to be the 4th danceable song in a row. Definitely have a dancey theme going on. Let's kick it. Industrial? Yeah, that's what I was expecting. Not like this, though. Yeah, this is more... You gotta get that pull on the floor. Is that really what it stands for? It is one of their songs, though. It's one of the things it stands for. Back and forth. Ah, dude, that's catchy. Go-to example of a live show outshining any recorded media. I think fun is a good word for this. they're all fairly similar, no? Like, this is exactly what I would expect a track of theirs to sound like. Do they always solo, or have I just never noticed it or don't remember it? Oh. Okay. They solo a lot. I'll have to remember that. Yeah, that was very abrupt. Like verse, chorus, solo. I expected it to come back with the hook again, and we didn't. What can I say about it? It's got a strong hook. The back and forth on the vocals and guitar sounds great. And it's got that 4 on the floor beat. The bass and the drums drive it. The guitar and the vocals, they keep it going. It's a very straightforward song. We're getting a lot of straightforward tracks today. This is just going to end up me being a live stream of watching me dance. Simple groovy music. I don't have a lot of thoughts for today's entries, but I am enjoying myself. I'm always down for a bit of a lighter day. Poundingly loud live. The recordings are so polite. Yeah, this is a really chill track. I can only imagine how large of a sound they have live, the way you're describing it. Wait, KMFDM also used the KMFDM sucks thing, just like Primus uses Primus sucks? Is that, did one come before the other, or was it just like a total coincidence? They just happened to both do this thing. Also, another thing, did it come from the bands or from the fans? I have questions. This feels too coincidental. To me, that was always the Primus thing. Not because I knew about it, but I learned about it the first time we checked out Primus on the channel, and everyone commented that. I had no idea what was going on. But it feels very wild for them both to be doing it. They did it independently and both came from the band. Wow. Okay. I don't know what to take away from that. We got some Bricknasty coming up next. Claypool saying live or Primus and we suck, but surely he started saying that after people had already yelled that they suck before ours. Yeah, see, that's kind of how I would assume it too. You don't typically start there, but you can end up there if you want to get playful with some criticism. Still wild. Both bands do that. We got some Bricknasty here. Boyfriend. I don't know much of what we're getting in store for. Oh, they both started in the same year too. Gardevoir came for the esoteric album cover and name, stayed for the music. I'm excited. I hope you don't trust that guy. Let's dive in. See what's going on with Bricknasty. Oh, sorry, that was very loud. Too many bass notes. groovy bass today? I'll take it.
Guess it's not really meant.
Oh, the triplet mod.
He said it's not what it seems. Bible so skinny it screams. Look like we found it clear. I guess it's not even.
Oh, I'm kind of curious about that jazz. I apologize, I cannot pronounce your username there, but what's up with the link? Is it music you want me to listen to? All right, man. We already have the schedule set. If you want to add, I got a link to Patreon underneath the video. Join at the critic tier or higher, and you'll be on next week. Just got to send me your request. Well, actually, I guess you did. So if you join up, I'll put that in. Oh, it's an odd place to end that. Yeah, yeah, good call on the album title. It's I'm gonna copy paste it so y'all could see this. That's certainly an album title. Sudden unexpected endings. Yeah. That just kind of quit, and I knew it was coming up. Y'all can't see it, but this song was less than 3 minutes long. But even knowing we were about to end, that's still a wild place to wrap that up. Solo artist Peculate was the most interesting one of the few I stumbled into when I looked for jazz. I'll have to look that up. Peculate to jazz. Oh, it's Ethiopian script. Okay. I've never seen that before, so that's new to my eyes. Very cool. I enjoyed this. Parts of it. I may reiterate that. This is very fun, sort of jazzy R&B, but a very new spin on it. There's a lot of dissonance in here that I'm not too keen on. The vocal harmonies are nowhere near perfectly aligned, just kind of singing whatever notes they want. But even within the instrumentation, there's a lack of intonation, consistency throughout. Some of the instruments just a little out of tune. It creates a very dreamlike sound overall, paired with the interesting drum work, the great bass work, the super groovy syncopated writing, and the sort of hazy production to it all. It feels like I should love this. Jazzy R&B and is right up my alley, but it feels different. I don't recognize it the way that I should. And I find that to be a really interesting combination there, to create something unfamiliar out of the familiar. And so I want to dive more into this. They do have really short tracks, though. This album is technically an LP at 9 tracks in length, but only 24 minutes long. So I'm kind of curious what the rest of the album sounds like, though Gengardivore said the entire thing is good. So yeah, I'm going to pull this one down, check out more of it. It is very groovy, though. Great harmonic palette when it isn't trying to disrupt that. It's just a little odd, but exploratory, and I'll take it. Next up, we have some Deacon. Dan Deacon. There's a Dan there. All right. My brain usually thinks 30 minutes or less tends to be an EP. 30 minutes is usually my cutoff too, but I'm also like a 6-track or 30 minutes. If you kind of break either of those, it kind of goes into LP territory for me. 9 tracks is a lot for an EP in my brain. But I think we looked this up a few months ago in the Discord. We were talking about it, and I don't think there is like a definition for what is an LP or what is an EP. It's very subjective. If it says it's an EP, it's an EP. I don't abide by that at all. There are some people, some albums self-described as an EP, and it's like 35 minutes with 7 tracks. No, I don't care how the artist describes it. That is an LP. Yeah, 30 minutes is like 70 something grindcore tracks. Gore grinds. I can read. Spotify and Apple define them as 7 tracks or 30-minute duration. 7's an odd number. I don't like it. I'm going to personally stick with 7. Or personally stick with 6. But yeah, at least they have a defined limit. Because Rate Your Music just seems to be random. And that's probably because it's user-generated. But there does not seem to be any consistency there. LP EP became a bit meaningless since the medium change. Yeah, 100%. 100%. I still like it as sort of just a notion of length. Like, you know, going into a novel or a novella. I know what kind of time commitment I have for it. I suppose that also is not needed, as in the digital age, we know the exact length of something. So it's kind of redundant even within the metadata area of things. Something about it still seems right, though. Like, it feels weird not to have that. Which is interesting, too, because in my media database, I catalog both the length of the album and if it's an EP or an LP or a double LP. But why do I do that? It is redundant information. Hey, we hit 280 subscribers. That's awesome. Come on. I will never understand why, what is this? Twitch thinks there should be a dark blue on a text on a dark theme. Bateman? Is that Bateman 0101? That is really hard to read. Twitch has got to get with it, man. Anyways, thanks for the compliment on the shirt. I quite like it. It's kind of video gamey pixel art, but adventure time. I forgot that my microphone's on my shirt. Length changes massively between genre. Oh, that's fair too. Don't we humans like to categorize things? I certainly do. Monkey brain likes pattern. Yeah, 100%. I feel that. I am wondering, though, if maybe I should just drop that entirely. It is unnecessary in my data set. A lot of people don't know CDs first were 74 minutes max, then became 80 minutes and 88. I did not know they were 80. Interestingly, not even, I mean, the thing is as far as that's true, I should only know that they were 80-minute because 88's my birth year. So I was born after the 80-minute discs came out. But as far as I know, back in the day when we used to burn CDs, I don't think I ever had an 80-minute audio CD. They were always 74. That's wild. 88 gang? Yeah. Technically say I'm from the 80s, but I don't know anything about it. I'm a 90s kid. Amun has really long albums, so they put out a 3-song 41-minute release that they called an EP. And see, that's why I got both of them. I got 2 thresholds. If one gets crossed, it is definitely into the LP territory because 41 minutes is not an EP. Shading, I have no idea what you're going on with there. I'm very lost on that. You don't really keep many memories when you're 1. No, you don't. All right. Deacon. Archspire's previous album was 31 minutes, only barely a proper album. Yeah, I feel that though. It's like how you just made the cutoff, but yeah, LP. 10 times less plays than other artists when they have really long songs. Is that because people don't listen to long songs? Because I wonder what the Spotify would certainly have the metrics for this, but if a band or any artist released a 40-minute song, how many plays does that get, or how many complete plays does that get versus 4 10-minute songs called Part 1, Part 2, Part 3, and Part 4? Which one is more financially successful? Yeah, 1 long song versus 10 short songs. Because for me, it doesn't matter. I'm going to listen to the song one way or the other. And if the song smoothly transitions between tracks, I'm not quitting in the middle of it. Not unless, I have to. I'm pulled away from the music for some reason. But I suppose the average listener probably would prefer multiple tracks. Oh, but there's the thing. A play is a play. It doesn't matter if they've listened to it all the way through. A 40-minute song is 1 play, but 4 10-minute songs are 4 plays. That's dumb. Absolutely dumb. Get 1 streaming credit for the song. So what's to stop someone from putting together a 50-minute album of 11 or 12 tracks, pretty standard size, and then chopping that up into 30-second segments and being a 40 whatever track song, but being the exact same album? And then just soaking in all the plays from Spotify. I mean, it would be terrible for playlists, but for an album play, it'd be no different. Hundreds of songs of short silence. Probably marketing. But on your album, whether we're talking about records or CDs, you could have your traditional 12 tracks. Just on streaming, you just chop it up into 40. Volpec released an album of nothing but silence and used the proceeds to host a free gig. That's pretty cool, though. I'll take that. As far as dismantling and breaking the system, using it for your own gains, using that to fund a concert, I support that 100%. They asked fans to leave it on. That's interesting too. Gaming the system. Yeah. That's probably why YouTube is such a black box with their views and stuff, and how payouts work, generally speaking, makes it less easy to game. Spotify would probably need to change. Yeah. Oh, it did cost Spotify to change rules. Yeah. All right. Dan Deacon. Did we get context on this? Well, there isn't any. I don't think we did, though. This comes from Nate. Let's see what's going on with Trush. Is that a word? I don't know. We're going to find out, though. Let's go. Spotify only gives ads between songs. Doesn't really account for paying users. Okay. Bateman, are you asking if that I prefer vocals or instrumentals, or where was that sitting within the conversation? This is massive. The low end is blown out. This is just such a huge sound on the outside. Maximalist, yeah. How to submit? You can join Patreon. Link is underneath the video. And join at the critic tier or higher. And we have slots open for next week where you'll be able to request for that. Yeah, as far as I can tell, Trush is not a word. Not in English, anyways. Oh wait, Trush is a bird. Ukrainian last name? Oh no, that seems to be a thrush. Just a typo where I was looking. Is that backmathed vocals? Oh, so they are back now. Okay. When I move, you move. Even this sounds reversed. Yeah, maximal is a good word for that. There is a lot going on all at one time. There's reverse sounds, there's forward sounds, there's sonic modulation, there's layers. The bass is massive. Even right from the start, it takes up so much space, but then there's all of these little layers being tossed in that surround the song, really caging it in. It's interesting when these sections are removed, how empty the sound sphere feels. Makes you feel like you're in space. Yeah. And I think it's a lot of those higher tone sounds and the quick movements of them that honestly feel very pulpy sci-fi of like the 60s and 70s, computers that are just flashing lights and beeps. Lots of layers yet never overdone. Yeah. So for maximalist music, usually I can find this too much. Sort of like how overly virtuoso playing can feel like just too many notes at times. Maximalist writing can feel like there's just too many things going on. It can be overly fatiguing, overly stimulating, difficult to follow, and it just kind of like pushes you, or let me rephrase this. It pushes me out of the experience. And so I find that this track finds a way to add all of that together and put all of these things in without it feeling overdone. It is very full. There are a lot of things happening, but it isn't overbearing. And I think that that is something that stands out to me as a really well done job to balance this more maximalist side of writing with a palatability and ease of listening. Simply an acquired taste for your brain to get used to. Tolerance can be built up. 100%. 100%. 100W. Is that how many wins this track got for you? You really enjoyed it? I think another thing that carries us through, though, is the pop sensibilities, particularly in the melody writing and the ad-libbed choir stuff in the background. It adds to a familiarity. It says, yes, there's a lot of electronic things going on, but if you're familiar with pop-oriented vocal work and melody writing, you have a bridge into this. You have something to hang on to while all this other stuff is going on. So I do think that it works really well at balancing pretty much everything here to find something digestible within not necessarily the chaos, but the everything of it all. We got some Trollfest coming up next. As I mentioned earlier, I'm not sure if I've heard a lot of them. I know of the name, but I can't place a sound to them. The track we're listening to is Solskinnsmedisin. I don't know if the pronunciation is right. I don't know where the emphasis is supposed to go, but I do believe the translation is sunshine medicine, which that guy looks ready for the beach, so that's probably fairly accurate. This one comes at us from Marson. Vibe of summer fjord beach party in metal Norway. The song has a fitting music video. All right. Ever been musically tortured? Had to listen to Melanie's brand new key for like 2 to 3 hours straight. I don't know what any of that means. I'm just going to take your word that it was not fun. I'm kind of curious about it now. I hate my brain's like, musical torture? Really? I doubt that. I should probably investigate myself. That's not something I should want to investigate. You got used to it though? Well, see, that's not too bad. All right, let's get some Trollfest going on. See what they're doing to bring the summer vibes. Okay, yeah. A little bit of flamenco in here. Wait a second. No, that's what is her name? I have played this song on trumpet. Someone help me out here. I'm mad. Gloria Estefan. I like this auxiliary percussion over here. Quite literally yacht metal. Yeah, 100%. I love listening to stuff I'm familiar with just to see what new I can hear in it. Oh, it's just called Conga? I had no idea. I had a much longer title I was searching for. The piano rhythm is monotuno. Oh, sorry, montuno. Okay. Make a party of it, yeah.
Finally arrived in Cabana. What are we going to do tonight?
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah, this whole stream has been very chill and dancey. A wild way to wrap this up, though. I'm not gonna say I enjoyed the metal sections of this. The vocals, they were not my cup of tea. But I think I enjoyed that more than the ending, which it's cliche, which is the point of it. Very iterative style of like a general island kind of vibe. But it was just way too singular and repetitive. I don't know, something about it, and it is so disjointed too. I don't know if I liked the music though. It was a very eclectic combination of timbres, instruments, and influences, and I liked the ingenuity of it. They're like in Nordic aquabats. That puts a lot of things in perspective, honestly. That, yeah, I can get behind that. And from that perspective, they're just trying to have fun and they're a little eclectic and they're doing it within a metal framework. That makes a lot more sense. Because there's parts of this that I don't think work really well. But if you're just here for the vibe, just here to have fun, it absolutely works. The harsh vocal style, though, is not for me. The drum work was great, though. I love the auxiliary percussion. The piano part was a fun addition to all of this. The group vocals in the clean vocal section was fun. Like, it's a fun time. Am I going to come back to this? Probably not. But I enjoyed listening to it. And I saw someone put some sort of hot dog or sausage, I'm not sure what that was, into a tortilla. And I'm glad I'm not the only one who does that, because tortillas are superior to bread in every way. You can put anything in a tortilla and it's better than if you put it in a sandwich. I stand by that. Glad to see other people rationally understanding this as well. They're kind of bread anyway. They absolutely are. They absolutely are. It is a bread alternative, but one I find to be superior. American doesn't have good bread. Nah, we have good bread over here. Not all of it's good. Also depends on the kind of bread. When I buy bread, it's usually this brand called Dave's Killer Bread, which is full of like oats and seeds and stuff, and it's wheat. It has a delicious earthiness to it, 100%. Would I enjoy that more than a flour tortilla, though? I don't think so. Oh, you know what? I think I defeated my argument. Would a peanut butter and jelly sandwich work better in a tortilla? That's a tough one. Nutty Oaty bread. Yeah, dude, that's the best. Some very abrupt endings earlier. Yeah, lots of bass, lots of dance, lots of odd endings. That's been the stream today. Pita style breads are great for sandwiches. Yes, they are. Yes, they are. I don't buy pita too often because I find that it's just a hair bit too expensive for like a meal to cost ratio. You get a lot more bread and a lot more tortillas than you would pitas. But it is a good way to sort of break out of the rotation of things I eat and add some new flavors. Killer Bread is a great band name. Yeah, tortillas and bratwurst, dude. That's so good. So good. Put a little bit of cabbage in there, some mustard. You just got a good meal right there. There's my food tip for the day. If you were going to make a sandwich, put in a tortilla, see if it's better. Onion and mustard. Onion's good too. Chili dogs are good. Throw some chili on it. What is hot dogs? They're just it's open. It's such, I'm not gonna say the hot dogs are bland, but it's a flavor that mixes well with a lot of things. You can go sweet with it, you can go salty, you can go savory, like you can do a lot of things. English mustard. I don't think I've had English mustard before. I'm not even sure what the difference would be. Pita's a bit more expensive, but bread's pretty cheap in Europe. Corn tortillas are good too. I don't think they have quite the flavor of a flour tortilla. It's earthier, and that works better for some things. But I do like a good corn tortilla too. Brian tries mustard on the next streams. Where would I even buy English mustard at? Do we have any brand, like English mustard brands that I could just buy anywhere, or would have to be imported? We have so many mustards, you can't call one American. I mean, I think Heinz Classic Yellow is a very American mustard. But I would be very surprised. Basic Yellow is trash? Oh, geez. Oh, geez. Where's the ban button? Basic Yellow is amazing. The biggest mustard brand is literally called French's. Oh yeah, brown mustard. All right, y'all have fun with that. I'm going to keep an eye on the discussion because I am curious about finding an English mustard to try. But we got to keep this music stream going at least. We got some Sylosis here, Behind the Sun. This one comes at us from Sludge Boy with no context. Let's see. Let's dive into this, see what's going on. I'm a crepe, I'm a weirdo. What am I doing here? That's pretty good. Mustard adventure, but getting distracted by music. All right, you Worship Explosion, have a good rest of your day. Now there's two of them. So Coleman's is an English mustard I should try. Yeah, dude, nice melodic flow though. Dehydrated mustard that you reconstitute with water? I have never heard of that. Both of you on that. Getting that harmony in there. One of the least dancey songs today. Not to say it's not groovy, but it's more like headbanging music. All right, Pear, have a good rest of your day. Whole mustard seed, apple cider vinegar, and presumably some honey? Or was the apple cider vinegar enough to sweeten it? Yeah. I'll probably be heading to Fresh Market on Tuesday anyway, so I'll see if I can pick some up. Lamb of God, but acceptable to your metal elitist friends. All right. Yeah, I quite enjoyed that. It's death metal, but it's palatable death metal. I kind of came at that from the opposite direction of Azathoth. It's heavy, but it's very melodic. I love the way the vocalist uses the different textures of his harsh vocals in order to craft flowing ideas. The guitar riffs throughout are pretty sick, and the solos are melodically wonderful, very linear, and don't feel piecewise like a lot of solos tend to feel in death metal. And the drum work is syncopated and punchy. It feels great at creating the groove that you headbang to, but it also allows the song to feel a little less rigid, as the guitar work can kind of lock into rhythmic ideas a bit more. The bass kicks, though, represent a bit more looser rhythmic feeling. That opens the song up quite a bit. It's a very solid track right here. Very melodic, very heavy, but yeah, it's got some palatability to it. And I think overall, if I was to get into some death metal, this might be where I start. Something about it still doesn't grab me. Maybe it's, I don't know. It does have a 90s feeling to its production, the guitar tones and the way everything's layered. And sometimes it's a little off-putting to me. I would like some clean vocals, but maybe it would be a good play. I'm going to pull it down. I've talked myself into it. It'll give me a place to start getting more into death metal, as I think that is the one extreme metal that I still have a hard time enjoying. Doom metal, the atmosphere speaks to me. Blackened metal, there's some that are on the fringe that really speak to me, but with death metal, it's almost a little too functional at times. I think that's why tech death is where I gravitate towards more within that genre. It's got to be something in there that I enjoy, though. Maybe this will be a place to start and seek that out. Next up, we have some Moses Sumney, the track Virile. This one's coming at us from David with no context here. Oh yeah, Arch Enemy, I think I've tried to get into a couple of times and doesn't work. I do like the cleans though, but something about the music, I don't know. It's always been like a good 7 out of 10. Like I enjoyed my time with it, but I've never heard that track from them where I'm like, okay, whatever album this is from, it's immediately going to the top of my list. Like I got to check this out soon. It's always been something that's, I don't mind listening to it. Oh yeah, Alkaloid. I kind of don't put them in death metal. They're a bit more progressive in my mind. Again, like death metal, well, I guess black metal is sort of the same way, where I don't enjoy the core sound, but I enjoy the branches, the subgenres on it. You see a challenge here. Maybe we should have a melodic death metal week and see if there's anything that catches my fancy there. Maybe we'll put that up against crust punk, because I've been trying to find some other genres to put up for a theme poll, and we'll do like a genre week. But the only genres we haven't checked out are ones that I think y'all are allergic to. There's quite a few genres I would like to check out that just do not win polls. And it's kind of created a chunk within the theme list. And it's like these genres are not accepted by the community, not at large. There's always some people who vote for it. Maybe we need to see some basic death metal live. That's true too. I'm sure live shows would be energy, and if the song itself isn't intellectually doing it for me, the mosh pit will probably help me enjoy everything that's going on. Yeah, Alkaloid's progressive. Genre racist. Let's check out some Moses Sumney. We'll see what's going on here. All right. This mat I'm standing on, it moves around. Maybe it's because I'm dancing so much today. I feel like I have to keep repositioning it. Soul R&B singer, more elaborate orchestration than usual.
Overtake my skin, and I realize now.
Gorgeous voice, interesting ornamentation.
Cause I will return to dust and matter.
Have we checked out anything from Moses before? You have planned mellow death requests for September? Okay. So I'm going to assume that this isn't typical for him then? Fix the rug, you'll end up in virtual insanity.
Take dominion over all that once pervades.
Because his voice is gorgeous. I assume that his less orchestrated tracks are still going to be good to listen to, but I'm really enjoying all of the everything going on here.
For passing grades, the virility fades. You've got the wrong guy.
That really big bass with the piano is a nice contrast.
Amp up the masculine. You've got the wrong eye. Too much is not enough. Too much is not enough. You've got the wrong to make minions of the stars made up.
Your dominion is to make minion of the stars. That's such a good line.
Desperate for passing grades, the virility fades. You've got the wrong guy.
Heavier than I would expect for soul and R&B.
You've got the wrong
I'm curious about the lyrics though. Also, wild dedication right there to the video. I look like real ladybugs. But I'm really curious about the lyrics to this because the visuals of this are interesting. The meat locker, the ladybugs on the meat, more than what would normally be associated would be probably maggots of some sort. But then the insects, whatever they were, flying around in the field too. Almost a feeling of plague there. I don't know. The glitter hand was very cool. I don't know what any of this represents though, and it really makes me interested in the lyrical side, especially as the musical side of this, it does its thing. It's a very cool track, but I did find that it was more interesting at the beginning as there were more things happening. It kind of locked into a sound once we hit like the minute timestamp. And we had like the bass, the drums, and the vocals. And then from there, we had that really big bass sound. And then the big, I don't know, electric guitar thing. And it became this heavy atmosphere towards the end of the track. But we lost all of the beautiful, dexterous ornamentation from the opening minute or so. And it became something heavier throughout. And I mean, even that in and of itself is storytelling that I'm intrigued by. Lyrics seem nice too. Possibly about toxic masculinity and the prison it creates for men. Okay, yeah, I can get behind that. I'm not sure what that has to do with the music video, but I'm kind of intrigued to get more into the details there, maybe find some layers. There are beetle larvae that eat rotting meat too. Oh, okay. So like I said, I think more traditionally maggots would be associated with that, but beetle larvae would be pretty cool too. Murmuration in the fields. Birds, right? Is that what that's alluring to? I think murmuration has to do with birds. Anyways, all black though, which is usually not a good omen. Lyrics seem to be about gender stereotypes. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, there's just a lot of evocative ideas here. Musically, atmospherically, narratively, lyrically, visually, this is a really strong work of multimedia. So I like this. I am a bit disappointed to hear that this is one of his more strongly written songs, at least as far as layering and instrumentation. But I mean, even just the bass, drum, and vocal part was still, I don't know, what's the word I'm looking for? Interesting, captivating. So I think even on his lesser layered tracks, I'm still going to find something of worth in there. Now we have a band here called Adiós Cometa. I don't know what that translates to, but I know uno is one. Adios is goodbye, but I don't know what cometa is. Or cometa? Yeah, it's probably cometa. Context for this, though, comes from Spiro, Costa Rican band, from their two-song split EP with Sisney. The song is a response to Sisney's new song, and that's why they called it Uno. That's pretty good. Dios means gods. So this would be Adiós Comet. Not sure how adios became goodbye. I don't know. Goodbye Comet. Okay, yeah. And the track is called One in response to Sisney's Zero. Now, if I remember correctly, we covered Sisney, an entire EP of them, and they were noisy. I don't remember if it was a post-hardcore noise or like a blackened, or maybe it was blackened screamo. I remember it being tough to listen. So I'm kind of curious. This is a split EP, so this band is related to Sisney in some way, probably sonically. Let's dive into it. Let's see what's going on here. And one. Oh, really nice vocabulary lesson there. Yeah, I mean, language is cool. Root meanings, being able to derive the meaning of a word by knowing its parts, that's certainly fascinating. I don't know if I'd say I'm obsessed, but how often we turn to language conversations, I'm probably around the same area. fascination, at the very least, with language. So very hazy, not what I was expecting, given the relationship with Sumney. Oh, the bends. That is a big bass sound too. Etymology. I need to add that to my vocabulary. Lexicography is how you write. So, would y'all describe this as shoegaze? Or shoegaze adjacent? A little bit of indie rock, but it's very gloomy. Like a chill post-hardcore in ways. Although this is just brilliant. Coming off of all of that anger and harshness, we just have this gorgeous development. A raw shoegaze, yeah. And bootgaze. All of the little guitar techniques in here. Okay. I was kind of curious where this sat with them because it does sound a lot like Sisney to me. Maybe a bit mellower, but that finale, I was trying to place the band. And I was like, wait, this is just, it's reminding me a lot of Sisney. But if they're normally more like, I would assume, the beginning of this track, and this song was more of them trying to ramp up the intensity in a way since they're sharing an album with them, that makes sense. Overall, though, I don't really feel like I connected with it. I don't know where that lies, if it's on them or if it's on me. It feels a little empty, and maybe that's the point of it. The vocals always felt out of place when the harshes were present. The cleans felt more natural in this sound. It is very gazy. It's very empty. It's a bass, playing a simple bass line. It's guitar that's kind of linear, but not necessarily melody. It's ornamental. It's constantly evolving, but adding to rather than being the song. The drums are fairly light throughout too, more functional than anything else. The vocals are what pull me through the track for the most part. But we have an elongated, slow burn instrumental section that I don't really feel built into something worthwhile for the length of time we were in it. The harsh vocals at the end were supposed to peak the track, but they're so disjointed from the mellowness of the music. I did like the general emotive journey, though, from rising tension into release. Then we went back into tension, and I'm sure that fits the story of the song, but I kind of wish we had stuck with that more peaceful middle point. Liked it until the screaming. Lost my suspension of disbelief buy-in. Yeah, something about the end of the track just didn't grab me either. Certainly lost me there. Needed a wall of sound ending. And maybe that's what I would have appreciated more in it too. Like I had mentioned, it's a very stark contrast between the big yelling vocals and the lightness of all the instrumentation. And this kind of goes back to several conversations we've had today about expectations and biases. Of having familiarity with the sound and then expecting that familiarity in the future. But on a first time listen, there's parts of this that just never quite connected into an experience, for me at least, that felt cohesive. There's a lot of neat ideas in here, but they're not working together to tell something. Or I suppose another way to word it is that the collection of sounds as presented to me didn't say anything, or I didn't read them as anything. But I do think it's an interesting collection, and I think the vocals aside, I really like what the instrumentation is doing here with vibe and atmosphere and storytelling, particularly as the emotion evolves throughout the course of this track. Now we're going to go from a song that came out this month to a song that came out a couple of decades ago. Ah, dude. The meeting fell through. I'm actually a little upset about this. I didn't realize how precariously set that meeting was in scheduling. We had actually talked back in July, mid-July maybe, and I told him I'd get back to him at August and we'd figure things out. And when August came around, I had the tail end of me being out of town. So the first week of that, I was still out of town, I think. And then we had preparing for school, getting school supplies, meeting teachers, getting new clothes, all the stuff. And then I had the first week back at work, doing a full 40-hour week again. And then I was like, okay, from then we can meet up. And that was this week. Everything's kind of more solid and stable. And so we set up the time for this, for last week, sorry. And supposed to meet him on Thursday, and my kid gets real sick. Like flu-like symptoms, body aches, all of it. And so I was like, dude, I'm not gonna be able to meet today. And he's like, that's cool. What about next week? And I was like, I'm open most days. Tuesday is about the only day I'm not open. And he's like, well, Tuesday is the only day I'm open. And he's booked this week and then out of town until next month. So I've got a couple of weeks to wait, and then we'll figure out a day when we're going to meet up and chat. So yeah, like I said, very precarious. There's like one good day where everyone could work it. Yep, can't be helped. There'll be more times in the future. Exactly. It's kind of disappointing. I've been looking forward to it so much. I'm gonna throw it's the bassist for Monk Tongue. He saw the video that I put together a few months back. They're a local Orlando band that's not around anymore. So I guess ex-bassist for Monk Tongue. And he just wanted to chat about things and see if there was anything I wanted to ask and stuff. And I do, because I miss that band a lot. I'd love to know what happened and how they got together and all that. So I was stoked for it. And I jokingly, on Wednesday night, I told my kid, she's like, I don't feel so good. I'm like, you'll just need to sleep it off. You'll be fine in the morning. I was like, unless you're dying, you're not going to, or you're going to go to school in the morning. And then turns out she was actually really sick. So yeah, but you know, that's the way things go. Was that the one from ages back that I knew? Yeah. Yeah, the last time they played, as far as I know, was like 07, 08. They opened for 12 Stones at a little dive bar, and I saw them completely coincidentally. They weren't even supposed to play. The opening bands dropped out last minute, and they had to find a local band to cover the opening slot, and they got it. And I loved it, man. I bought their CD. I chatted with them a bit. And I listened to that CD forever, followed them on MySpace. I was really looking forward to that second album. So I'm super happy to get to talk to them. And I'm just eagerly awaiting, like the next 3 weeks are just going to be so slow for me as I'm counting this down. But yeah, that's just the way things go sometimes. It's got to roll with it and adapt. All right, next up we got some Fugazi. This one is called Caustic, Acrostic. I love that. Spiro recommends this one. It's their August pick. Let's dive in. Oh, this song is 2 minutes on the dot. This is very short. Let's kick it. For some reason, I thought Fugazi was American. Maybe they are. But something about this feels very British. Yeah, dude, this whole band. This band was just very influential for so many groups. Oh yeah, this is the cover from the other. Good call. um, okay. Cool, cool. Wild way to end that. Not my favorite Fugazi song. The most abrupt yet. Yeah, for sure. The interesting thing is that the song ends. Like, it has a very clear finale, and then the drummer just randomly peters out with this drum fill that shouldn't have been there. It is both abrupt and weirdly extended simultaneously. Energy though, just top notch, dude. The guitar work, the drum work, the vocals, everything is just driving. Singers, yeah, that's what I thought. They were an American band. Very interesting. We've heard Fugazi. We've heard the entire, no, I don't think we've listened to the entire Repeater album. We've listened to a few tracks from it though. And a lot of the times I think of post-hardcore, even pop emo bands that were influenced by their sound. It's not this though. This isn't the way the vocalist normally sounds, is it? They've always fallen into the Blueprint trap. That's after Repeater though, because as far as I understand, Repeater is very what is that? Influential. One of the first. Blueprint would be iterative though, yeah? Unless maybe they were doing sounds that were iterative, but they finally caught the ear of people. Like an underground group that kind of broke out of the underground. But yeah, when I think about this track though, it is just energy. The guitar part is chords pretty much all the way through. The drums are lots of toms pushing the energy forward. It is a short track though that sort of does its one thing very well. It is more treble heavy than I would expect for 98 though, which I find interesting. They laid the genre foundation, yeah. And yeah, I kind of sit with this track, to sit in that same space with this track. There's nothing in it that really stands out to me, but that's because I've heard the band that it's influenced so many times, and in a sense, I've heard it done better. The refining of iteration. But I do think that thinking back, realizing this is 98, definitely a bit ahead of its time. Especially since they were crafting the sounds, I think even a few years before that. I don't know what their earliest album is. But solid track overall. Why are we listening to Primus today? Oh, I think I messed up attributing the what is it? The requester. I think that was Tedesco who requested that track. All right. Primus. Is there anything that needs to be said about Primus? This one comes at us from Azathoth. In a way, it's Primus. In another, more subtle way, it's Primus. In another, overly verbose way, it resembles the feel of a Primus tune. In a fourth, secret way, it is not Primus. But in a fifth and final way, it is Primus. And in a sixth and lying way, it goes on and on. Saw this song described as if Primus wrote a Primus song in the comments. That's pretty good. I assume that this feels very Primacy then. Primacy. Primacy. Let's dive in. See what's going on with the Ol Grizz. Their new drummer is solid. All right. super funky, as expected. I'm waiting for the big moment. This has been simmering for a long time. I think that's on my list already, no? Really getting those overtones on that. There have been a lot of connections today. It's all coming up, promise. What? Scale practice has come in handy. now let's get back to the technical stuff. Why does this feel like a System of a Down song? Specifically something funner, like from Steal This album. Maybe not sonically, but compositionally, the approach to the song. Y'all are wild. Well, got a headphone here. That was Claymation. Okay, I am sold on that, dude. I thought that was handcrafted, low frame rate computer animation. It felt modern in a lot of ways, but also something straight out of like the early 2000s too. So I got some nostalgia for that, but Claymation, and they made it look all low poly. That's interesting. The music video was fun. I'll give it that. Oh, dude, it was also super fluid for claymation too. That's the other thing. Just, wow. They should have got a drummer named Let. But I'm not sure I enjoyed the music. Technically impressive. That bass lick for the verse and the one for the chorus is very cool. I mean, that's impressive bass work and Primus. They just go hand in hand. It's a fun track, but it's very drawn out. How long was this? 5.5 minutes of one bass lick, a variation on that, and a super long atmospheric-esque bridge. I don't know, dude. Not much to say. It was Primus. Yeah. In some ways, yeah. I do find, though, that I just generally have less to say about it than I have in the past. I mean, there's certainly been Primus tracks where I could talk about it for a half hour. This feels clinical, almost. Like the description of that comment that you had mentioned. Like if Primus covered or made a track that sounded like Primus. It feels like that. It's kind of lacking something. I don't know what that is. The riffage is a bit recycled from past work. And see, I don't have that connection to their older stuff, but it does feel like a Primus riff. Oh, recycled from the South Park theme. I did not know that. I've heard that track at least. This was like many Primus songs. It kind of feels that way to me. I don't even listen to a lot of Primus. I don't have a lot of exposure, and it just feels very Primus-y. Same thing happened with Tool, but at least they expanded to longer works. And see, I wish the expansion here did something, though I will say that, much like some of Tool's later works, this one really loses its pacing in the bridge. So there's another parallel there. This EP had a cover of Holy Diver that's really good. I would like to hear that. I don't know who MJK is, but I think them doing Holy Diver would be interesting. Oh, Maynard, yeah. It's kind of weird because my first thought was maybe that's a typo and you wanted a G. I was thinking of Machine Gun Kelly, and I can't imagine what Primus would do with him, but I don't know, man. Stranger things are happening these days. But yeah, I forgot about Maynard Keenan. Is that his last name? They'd find something, right? I wouldn't put it past Primus to do a weird collab like that. Put him in the bin. Dude, it got dark in here too. Oh, that's because the sun ain't really out. Okay. That's that then. Yeah, I guess it's gonna wrap up today then. These streams are quickly pushing towards 3 hours in length. Won't be long before all of them are like that. Thank you all for coming out on your Sunday, enjoying some good music, having some good conversations, some good laughs, I hope. Got to get up for work in 4 hours. Dude, that's crazy. You should have been in bed a while ago. You have a good night. Hope you have some good rest. We got some strange music coming up tomorrow. This whole week is going to be Strange Music Week because tomorrow, I think, is Strange Music Day. So, hope y'all are excited for a week of odd sounds. Good company, absolutely. We also have special selection coming up, and the VOD for this will be up soon. Y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. I'll catch you later, and until next time, I don't know what I was going to say. Have a good rest of your day. Take care. That's what it is. That's what I always say. How did I forget that? All right. See y'all.